S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 Heart of Chernobyl. An open-world first-person shooter survival horror game and the long-awaited sequel to the S.T.A.L.K.E.R series. What's the story, and how does it play? We'll get into that today.
We didn't establish the most advanced institution in human history without first guaranteeing its safety. As the head of the Scientific Institute for Research of the Chernobyl area, or S.T.A.L.K.E.R for short, I believe the wonders that we will bring to the world far outweigh the potential risks.
How big are these risks?
The story. The Chernobyl exclusion zone, the site of a deadly nuclear power plant meltdown in 1986 that caused the evacuation of entire cities, has changed dramatically after a second massive explosion 20 years later in 2006. Now, violent mutants, deadly anomalies, and warring factions roam the supposed abandoned city of Chernobyl, making the zone a very tough place to live in. However, in the most dangerous and deadly zones of Chernobyl lies artifacts of unbelievable value. Seeing opportunities to make a fortune, many people called stalkers enter the zone to look for these artifacts, while some are interested in finding the truth hidden in the very heart of Chernobyl. Although not too many details have been released so far, we can safely say that you play as a stalker named Sif, in the zone presumably attracted to treasures and mysteries. The plot involves efforts to move humanity forward by harnessing the forces of the zone, and apparently your choices will influence both short-term consequences and global outcomes. So do expect a non-linear story with branching storylines from your actions in Chernobyl, which will ultimately lead you to several different endings. You do not need to complete the other S.T.A.L.K.E.R games to enjoy this game, as it is a standalone project. However, having knowledge and experience from previous games will give you a greater sense of what's going on, and maximize your level of immersion, as this game does take place many years after the last game, and will feature locations from those previous games. S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 will also feature at least 2 story expansions that will further expand the world. In terms of what they are exactly, is yet to be seen.
Похоже, пора.
И куда ты теперь?
В Припять. Нужно с ним поговорить.
Presentation. Shadow of Chernobyl is depressing and dark, which suits the survival horror theme. In saying that, the world looks beautiful, with locations that you can expect from a game based around Chernobyl. Forests, wastelands, tall dilapidated concrete buildings, and the ever-popular Ferris wheel of Chernobyl. The game promises photorealism to the world, which they seem to deliver so far in the trailers. Speaking of the world, this game features true open world. While previous S.T.A.L.K.E.R games had a big open world, they were broken up into chunks, and you were funneled through a few specific access points to travel between them. S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 promises a seamless open world, allowing you to explore the post-apocalyptic Chernobyl, 64 km square worth. This game also features day and night cycles and some crazy weather effects due to the radiation, like radiation storms. There are a few types of enemies in this game, from the regular humans wanting to murder you to mutated beasts and anomalies, all wanting to murder you and each other. When you are close to an anomaly, objects start floating around you and they can be a marvel to see. Some mutants in the trailers include a swamp crab looking thing and an updated version of the bloodsucker that looks a bit like Cthulhu. The humans in this game look quite realistic as their facial animations have been captured with motion capture, allowing them to realistically show their emotions on their faces. A-Life, the system where the living beings in the world can interact with each other even without your presence, is back as A-Life 2.0. The various human factions will wander the zone, just like you, living their lives as a stalker and defending themselves from mutant beasts.
Ну, чё там?
Готово.
The gameplay. Heart of Chernobyl is a survival horror first-person shooter, so do expect a lot of exploration, looting and shooting various creatures wanting to kill you and stalkers wanting to take your stuff. The gunplay looks fast and fluid. Each enemy in this game will follow different tactics to try to outsmart you. In fact, this is even true with the mutated creatures, following different behavior models that will make them less predictable. Mutants also hunt in large groups, which will present a hazardous level of threat to you. While most of it is quite standard, where you point your gun and shoot, there are some interesting gameplay systems included, like the ability to grab attachments that you have found laying around in the environment and then immediately attaching it to your weapon. The gameplay trailers show you grabbing a scope and a silencer, then equipping them right away without going through an inventory screen. With the silencer, we can surmise that you can be stealthy in your approach to handling enemies. You have access to a multitude of weapons, over 30 of them in fact, to help you fend off your foes, and while most of them are quite standard, like different handguns, shotguns, submachine guns, sniper rifles, it seems like at some point in the game you'll gain access to a special gun that shoots lightning bolts. There are a ton of modifications available for each gun in this game too, so you can create hundreds of lethal combinations. Speaking of lightning, you will have access to some gadgets like a scanner that seem to be able to detect paranormal artifacts that are close to you. The developers also promised to add a few other detectors for you to use during your exploration. You want to be careful as you explore the world, as some anomalies can disable your equipment when you get close, like jamming your gun or making your armor totally useless. In fact, the most valuable artifacts can only be found in arch anomalies, which are the most dangerous kinds of anomalies. Artifacts that you collect in the world will also give you special abilities, like restoring your stamina. So far I've only seen a green jelly, but we will definitely find more unique artifacts to help us survive in Chernobyl. While the trailers show a ton of gameplay, survival mechanics will still be a big part of the game. You'll have to look out for your hunger, sleep levels, radiation levels, and your stamina to survive in the world. If you aren't well rested, you will have lower stamina. In addition, your vision will be blurred and you may start seeing and hearing things. This game also features a faction system where you can choose who you would like to side with and who you would like to kill. This will most likely determine the different branches of storylines and endings that you'll obtain. Some of these factions are Freedom and Monolith, which were available in previous games, and a new faction called Ward. Each of these factions will have different beliefs and different objectives, and thus will hopefully push the story in very different directions. Mods are also supported, so for those who want to get creative with the game, you can. The developers also promised a multiplayer mode which will be available to everybody who has purchased the game, sometime in the near future. In terms of what the multiplayer mode will entail is still to be confirmed. It is said that there's over 100 hours of gameplay if you want to spend the time exploring and discovering everything Chernobyl has to offer. If you're only playing through the game once, you'll most likely not be able to see everything in this game.
Он мучился?
Нет.
Это хорошо. Он этого не заслужил.
First impressions. I've played a few hours of S.T.A.L.K.E.R, Shadow of Chernobyl, and also Call of Pripyat, and from memory, the game was actually quite difficult, but at the same time immersive. I would expect Heart of Chernobyl to follow suit. I'm a sucker for games based around Chernobyl, especially after watching the Chernobyl TV show with my partner. Since then, I've been really immersing myself in games like the Metro 2033 series and Chernobylite, all of which are excellent games. Based on the gameplay trailers, the gunplay looks a lot like Metro Exodus, which I thoroughly enjoyed. In addition, I'm looking forward to the open world aspect of the game, as exploring the irradiated world of Metro Exodus proved to be both rewarding and gave me the opportunity to fully immerse myself in the world. So much so that it felt like a second life. Although it seems like this will be way more realistic, as we have to look out for our hunger and making sure that we have enough sleep in addition to radiation levels. I look forward to exploring S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2's Chernobyl. I wonder what hidden secrets will we be able to find in this world, and what stories will we experience. This game releases on the 28th of April 2023 for Steam and Xbox Series X and S. So what do you think about S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 Heart of Chernobyl? Let me know in the comments below. I'll see you guys in the next video.